right, y'all. We got another week. Week two. Week two started already. Last night we had the Vikings and the Eagles start off with the Thursday night game, and the Eagles, our division enemy, started off, pulled it out. Held on to win the game. They did what they have to do. But this week is I believe we already into for the Commanders. We already into our must-win games. All our must-win games. Arizona, like just a pre-cap last week. We played against Arizona. That game, I believe, was going to be a rough game, a rough way to try to win the football game. Arizona made a game of it. If you'd have listened to my first video, I gave a little heads up of why I thought how Arizona could win, and how I thought the Commanders could hold on. But it played out to the point to where, the Commanders made a game out of where the Cardinals made a game out of it. In Arizona stayed in it, stayed by attacking our offense, attacking Sam Howell, making him have costly turnovers. So it was a lot of things that Arizona did to confuse our quarterback. They was hungry. The Arizona defense was hungry. They came in there, they got after us, and I was a little worried about that. And I knew I was going to be worried about that because I believe that we overlooked Arizona. We had a celebration for a new ownership, celebration with a fanfare with players coming down and everything else. So I believe that we overlooked them. They was coming in with Joshua Dobbs, and they had their backup quarterback, and he played okay. He played okay, just enough to not lose the game, but he was going up against our defense, which was a good defense, and our defense made it very difficult for him to try to move the ball up and down the field. But our offense turned around and made it easier for him by giving up sacks, turnovers, and actually keeping them in the game. So as I look back on that, let's start off with our defense first. Our defense played pretty good, holding them down, the passing yards. I believe we held them, Joshua Dobbs, to under 100, and I think we had like 130, maybe a little bit less. The running game, had a running game down. Made critical plays when we needed to make critical plays, and our defense actually really held on and winning. Our offense still struggled mightily. The run game struggled. I don't believe, not the run game struggled, but I don't believe they got the run game going in our offense. With our offense, I believe they came out probably with a little bit too much with Howe throwing the ball from A to B to C. And I believe that was a mistake with Howe only making his second start. So, and that was costly. It almost cost us the game. So we're moving on past that. We're looking ahead this week against the Broncos, and it's going to be a difficult matchup there in Denver, playing against our Sean Payton team with Russell Wilson and all those other guys. The Broncos, again, like I said before, I believe this is a must-win game before we start getting into some of these meat and potatoes of the schedule. And the Broncos ain't coming. They're coming off a loss last week to the Raiders, and that was a close game. I actually sat there and I watched that game just because I had the Commanders on, and the Raiders and the Broncos on as well. And I watched them. I watched how the Broncos was trying to operate and do things. And I believe that they struggle. They still struggle. Russell Wilson still struggled. Even though he had a high completion percentage, I want to say he was 27 of 34, 177 yards. So he completed 80% of his passes with 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. But he only averaged 5 yards a pass. Even though he had a high percentage of getting the ball out of his hand and making completion, but they didn't do anything with the ball once they got it in their hands. So he was either those were running back passes, over the middle tight end passes, stuff like that. or the Oakland Raiders defense just allowed them to catch the ball and came up and made a tackle very quickly. So the Broncos struggled. The Broncos, they didn't have it all there playing against Oakland. Oakland still had costly turnovers and they struggled as well. But in order for the Commanders to win, like I said before, I still believe that we have to run the ball consistently. Run the ball with Robinson, run the ball with Gibson. And even if you can average only maybe 3 yards a carry, 2.5 here, 3 yards there, 4 yards here, you continuously give Brian Robinson the opportunity to move the chains. Antonio Gibson to move the chains, and you protect Sam Howell that way. Sam Howell made mistakes. He was holding on to the ball too long, I believe, in which put our offensive line in situations to where they was holding the ball so long that they gave up big time sacks. So he was making that mistake. Holding the ball, getting sacked, wasn't released. I don't know if he was looking at, I don't know if the wide receiver wasn't open at the point of attack, or he just didn't feel confident enough that he could get the ball there in a tight window. But he'll have to grow with that, and he'll grow with that over experience. It's his second start. He can improve with that by just trusting himself and trusting his receivers and knowing that his receivers are going to be in that spot where he throw the ball. And, we got a lot of playmakers there. But back to winning against the Broncos, I believe, you have to protect Sam Howell. Protect him. And Sam Howell, just like I said, he has to protect himself by getting the ball out of his hands, not settling for the sack, not having costly turnovers, and I believe they can hold on, run the ball, and hold on. Our defense is going to play. Actually, I believe against Arizona, I was more excited to see our defense on the field. When our offense started to struggle, I wanted our defense to play it out, and maybe our defense can win it for us. And that's what they did. When Sweat came in with that strip fumble, I was like, that's what we needed. Our defense can win the game on their own. And that's why I think that where they could come up against the Broncos, I believe that our defense can win the game on their own. We could shut them down. We could shut Russell Wilson down. Russell Wilson is a somewhat still mobile quarterback, so he can get out the pocket and run. But I believe our defensive line is so ferocious, the starters and the backups, that I think they'll be able to collapse the pocket and keep him inside of it and collapsing. They have a somewhat running game, Javonte Williams, Samadi P. Ryan, total they had over 100 yards total against all the running backs in the Broncos. I don't think that they'll be able to do what they did against us on our defense as far as getting that many yards. I believe that our defense could by itself can play, shut them down, shut the run down, and the receivers down. Because when you look at the Broncos receivers, they got Cortland Sutton, Brandon Johnson, Troutman. None of them guys scare me. None of them guys have anything that I think that is going to put a threat in it with our cornerbacks. And I definitely think that we could shut them down. But then again, if you look at what we did against Arizona, well, Arizona did have a couple speedy wide receivers, a couple good wide receivers. But when I look at the Broncos personnel and I look at some of these guys, I don't think they're enough of a threat to cause for concern. I think that we can get after them, get after the quarterback, and play the best of our ability. I know our defense like to play a lot of zone. That's something I wish we could get out of, because I want to see our defense. You get some zone and some man, but I want to see our defense. I believe that we can pack the box 8-9 man front and blitz. I was talking to a buddy of mine. I was explaining to him that why our defense is not ferocious. They're not ferocious like the Jets was ferocious against the Bills. The Cowboys defense, they were ferocious against the Giants. Our defense, our defense is just like those guys, or could be even better. And they need to get, I wish they would get after the quarterback. Show them, let play our man. We could lock up man to man, and we're gonna get after Russell Wilson. We're really gonna get not just with our front four, but with everybody. We're gonna come at you, we're gonna get at you, and we're gonna make it a hard day for you. So I'm very excited to see our defense, very excited to see, some of the things that could go on with our defense. And I just honestly believe that, it's a game that we should actually, do really good with. Shut them down, we do really good with. Broncos defense. Defensively, again, I don't really see anyone that stands out on the Broncos defense that's a game changer. They had some guys on here, and I don't want, they got some guys on here that can make plays. I don't see anybody, they may know a little, of course, they're going to know a little bit more about, what they could do, but I don't see nobody that's a threat for us that could rush the passer, get after, Wiley or our other guy, our left tackle. I can't recall his name right now, but, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But right now, I can't see. And I watched that game against the Raiders again. I ain't see none of the defenders getting after the quarterback, But that's a good thing for us because we can hold on and, maintain running the clock, running the ball, control the clock, and then make critical throws. So I believe we can make all those critical throws. I believe Hal can be a manager right now, young and early in his career, control the clock, and we can score points. We can score points. Our defense gonna ball. I already know. They just gonna ball. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. They're gonna ball. They're gonna shut the Broncos down, And really easily, I think we could win this game. Now, so moving into week 2 with the Broncos and how critical this game is, because I believe this is a must win. Just like Arizona last week, this is a must win when you got Buffalo coming up. That's going to be a very, very, very difficult game. That's going to be a very difficult game. And then you turn around and then you got the Eagles coming up right after that. The Eagles coming up right after that, and it's gonna be rough, right? And then you got Chicago coming up after that, and now everybody watched Chicago and Green Bay. Everybody saw that. Everybody saw Justin Fields struggle. So that's another game that we have to win. We have to beat the Broncos. We could play around. We can't play around, but I think we could challenge Buffalo. I don't know if we could beat Buffalo, but because it's still early in the season, I don't want to care about what happened last year or the year past that. But I think we could play with Buffalo, right? The Eagles, our first division matchup, that's going to be tough. Even though the Eagles not playing up to what they was doing last year. And if I watched them yesterday, they played good against the Vikings yesterday. They played New England first game. That was rough on them too. So they're not playing at the standard as they played last year when they were just dominating. So the Broncos, the Bills, the Eagles, 3 games that we have to win 2. We have to win 2 in order to maintain a healthy schedule. Maintain a healthy schedule within our division. And then after that play, we go back, we play Atlanta, then at Atlanta, then at New York. So we got a pretty good schedule. We got a pretty good schedule coming up where I think that we could win. But it's all stopped right here this week with the Broncos and going up to Denver and beating them. The weather up there. You're in that area where guys get winded a lot. They have a difficult time breathing up there in that atmosphere. But I don't think it should be anything that slow us down, hold us down, or keep us unfocused to what we have to do as a football team. Um, I gave us some keys to what I think that how the Skins can win. I think that, again, this is going to be a season where we're going to rely on our defense. We need to rely on our offensive line. We need to rely on our run game and help Sam Howell as much as possible. And another big thing where I saw in Arizona, but I don't think I really touched on, but I'm going to touch on, is we got to find ways to get Terry McLaurin the ball. I don't understand that. I don't understand you could go through a whole week, game plan for a whole week, and we don't get him no touches. You have to find ways to get your best players the ball. You have to. That is so key to maintain and becoming a good team. You have to get your guys the ball. I don't care if it's in reverses. I don't care if it's bubble screens. I don't care if it's regular screens. I don't care if it's going off play action, going over the middle. You gotta find ways to get your guys the ball. Terry McLaurin, he gotta get the ball. No other player on our offense deserves the ball more than him. I don't care what they doing. They doubling him up. They doing whatever. But you gotta find ways to get him the ball, get him involved in the game. I hate that. I watched yesterday again, week 1, week 2, Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins threw the ball to Justin Jefferson. All over the place. They got the ball to Justin Jefferson by any means necessary. They got the ball in his hands. Why we need to take advantage of that? We need to sit down on the sideline and you sit on the bench with your coach and you say, hey, get me the motherfucking ball. I don't care what happens. I don't care what's going on. I'm open. I'm open every motherfucking play. Double team, single, double, triple, whatever. I'm open. Throw me the motherfucking ball. And we need to put that in our quarterback office, a coordinator, our head coach head. Hey, line him up, get him in motion, get him out in the flats, quick passes, whatever you need to do. I need to get these guys, get him the ball. Dotson, he's another one. We need to get these guys involved. I know everybody wants to get stressed out. We hit the tight end, but if Logan Thomas not catching the ball, if Logan Thomas not getting open, if this person not doing this, so that find these motherfuckers on the field no matter what and get them the ball. You got to get the playmakers the ball, and that bothered me so much. And it bothers me that any other team who has a star wide receiver, they find ways to get them the ball, but us. And I hate that, and it upsets me about it. When you need a second and long, you need a clutch third down play. Get that motherfucker the ball. I don't care what you got to do. I don't care. Like I said, you got to move him around, move him in motion, line him up in the backfield. Whatever you have to do, you have to figure out a way to get him in a mismatch against a linebacker or a safety or whoever and get him the ball. And that's what I wish they need to go back. That's something that I believe that we don't talk about enough. We don't get our best players the ball in their hand. We need to Sam Howell need to say, understand that you don't force the throw, but take advantage of the opportunity when it's there. So that's something else that I wanted to touch on. But in order for us to win, we got to do that. We got to play good offense. Still rely on our defense to make it rely on our defense to make it a game. Rely on our special teams and our punter who's going to flip the field, and rely on Sam Howell. He can't make no fucking mistakes. He can't be running around in the pocket and fumble the ball, throwing interceptions, throwing costly throws. We got to take care of the ball. I know you're young, you're inexperienced. A lot of the fans hyped you up, but we can't afford that. We can't afford to lose. We can't afford to have costly turnovers, because every game this season is going to come down to turnovers, special teams, and it's going to come down to Sam Howell if he can make the throw when he needs to make the throw. So, again, like I said, I'm going to touch on with how we can win it. And those are the things I believe that how they could win and how I could hold on. Yeah, it's gonna be. I believe we should win. Yes, it's gonna be a difficult game. Yes, they playing against Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. Sean Payton could be the X factor. You know, they play a lot with when he was a coach in New Orleans. They did a lot of tricks, have a lot of tricks up this league. Because if they struggling to move the ball, they struggling to score. Sean Payton's going to steal the extra possession, so they need to pay attention to that. Pay attention to that on special teams. Pay attention to that to know that this dude going to do whatever he needs to do to win. So we need to step up. This is going to be a big win if we could go 2-0 and heading into Buffalo, and it's going to give our team a lot more confidence to know that, hey, we can play. We got guys on the team that can play. We got guys in here that's going to make a difference. So that's what I think. And I think the Commanders, they will win. Man, I believe it's going to be 23-13. I think we're going to score just enough to win or make it just enough to win by 10 points. I know Vegas got the Broncos actually winning by 3.5. So I like that bet. And I think the Commanders are going to win 23-13. Me watching them against the Raiders, the Broncos, I don't think they have enough to move up and down the field on the defense. I think our defense playing too good already early in the year to say, hey, we're going to let Russell Wilson. Now, if they let Russell Wilson get out of the pocket and they allow him to run the ball and get up and down the field, that way it's going to be a long day for us. But I don't think he's going to do that. I just think we're going to win. We're going to shut them down. It's going to be a good game. And we're going to get on the jump back, right back on the plane and come on back home, sit back and chill, get ready for the Bills. So I like the Commanders winning 23-13 in this game. So with that being said, I want to touch on a little bit of the Eagles and the Vikings game. That was rough, but touch on our division. That was rough. Eagles pulled it out last night. Cowboys, whew. They show the Giants, hey, you still that old rug right at the front doorstep. You know, when it's snowing, got 10 feet of snow outside, you still that same team that they come out there, they stomp their feet on, clean the mug, get the grass out of there. They stomp all over you, all over Daniel Jones, and then go back and dive on the couch, laugh, ha ha ha. That's exactly how they played against the Giants. They like, man, I can't believe y'all put them on our schedule. So, but I'm only paying attention right now to our division, what they doing, what other teams, the Eagles doing, the Cowboys doing, the Giants doing. Because those are the games that we must win. We must be competitive in. Some of these other games, you got to win those too, but our division games is what's going to keep us in the season. So it's going to be pretty good. We're going to sit back and watch. I like everybody. Cowboys play the Jets. The Jets defense, man, they for real. I feel sorry about Aaron Rodgers, Zach Wilson. Hold on, man. If you could hold on and play and rely on that defense, man, and you don't make no turnovers, if you could hold on, hold your own, and let your team become a team. If you could hold, they're gonna be good. It's just if they can hold on, but I don't think they're gonna be because of that quarterback position. It's gonna be hard, but their defense are ferocious. Them boys out there, they ain't playing. They sick. They play the Cowboys. I think, even though I think Dallas is gonna beat them, but I think it's gonna be rough. But Dallas they're gonna fuck Zach Wilson up. They're gonna force him into mistakes, and that's how I think they're gonna beat them. They're gonna force him into mistakes, and they're gonna overpower the Jets offense without Aaron Rodgers. The Giants, I think the Giants play Arizona. Man, and when I think about it, I think that's a toss-up game, Giants, Arizona. I think Dobbs gonna come in there and step up. That he gonna play with Arizona. The Giants gotta play. They gotta come back and do something against Arizona because the way Dobbs beat them down, they gotta do something. This is talent for Daniel Jones. This is talent for Saquon. So they're gonna be ready to ball out. They're gonna be ready to show out. So that's a 50-50 game. But I do expect the Giants to beat them. And our division is tight. It's tight. That's why I go back to the Commanders and I like, look, we got to beat every team. We got to beat these teams. The Broncos, Arizona, the Chicago's, the Atlantas. Though we got to beat them. We got to split amongst our division. If you could sneak in 2 wins, get 2 wins. They got to beat the Eagles. They got to steal a game. They got to steal a game of Cowboys. They got to try to beat the Giants because the Giants swept us last year. So it's a lot. So these games right here, they have to step up. They have to win. They have to be competitive in order to make a playoff push. But in order to be competitive, again, like I said, Sam Howell is going to have to protect the football, make minimum mistakes, make the throws he's supposed to make, and get the balls into your playmakers' hands. Run the ball, get the ball in your playmakers' hands, and let our defense play. Let our defense play lights out. Let our defense be the best they can be, and we should hold on. Hold on for this ride. This is a good ride. This could be a good season. Hold on for this ride. We could play with any of these games, any of these teams on our schedule. No one is that hard that we like, man, they're going to put 50 on us. Because our defense is going to hold us into every week. So that, again, that's what I think. That's what I think was going to happen. I think the Commanders are going to win. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a tight game. But I think our defense is going to be able to hold the Broncos off just enough to make it a ball game. So that's my prediction for this week. And that's how I think they're going to win. So I get you guys to an early reaction on Sunday. Early reaction. Maybe Monday I might get back to you guys on Monday because I work Sunday. I'm gonna watch the game at work. I work Sunday, and we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see if we can hold it down for all the motherfuckers in DC, Maryland, Virginia. So we just got it's gonna be a rough season. It's gonna be a tight season, but I think we can hold it on. Like, subscribe, and I'll let you next time.